Hey guys, welcome to the Frozen Usyk channel, where we will primarily be doing basing, painting, modeling, kit bashing, things like that. Today, we're going to end up talking about bases. Now, your model, whether you're a seasoned veteran or you're just starting out on War Machine, D&D, Hordes, 40K, Fantasy, or, anything else like that, your base, it tells a story. Now your model, you can paint it up whatever way that you want. You don't have to end up following the guidelines or anything like that. And the painting that you choose will end up telling a story in and of itself. However, in order to end up bringing it more complete and tell the greater story, your base should end up representing part of that story. So I will apologize in advance. I'm doing all these videos from an iPhone just because I can, and well, because I don't want to go out and buy a camera for doing this sort of stuff professionally, because, well, this is a hobby. And once it becomes professional, I tend to lose interest in it, and it no longer becomes a hobby, it becomes a job. So what we're going to do is we're going to start out today with just a plain 35mm base. I'll show you a couple little different techniques to end up taking just a flat base, some very basic things like some rock, some sand, and a few different glue types that what we can use to end up turning it into something similar to this. Maybe not exact, because this is a little bit more of a, I guess you could call advanced way of doing it, but we'll end up doing something fairly similar. So the first method, let me put this shit out of the way, is just using a stick of Elmer's glue. And what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take your X-Acto knife and your glue, and you're going to want to just pull off a bit of glue like that, all right? Okay, so, and what this does is that this will kind of give you a texture for your base. Because not all ground is going to be flat unless that's really the look that you're going for. I've always found that you want to have a little bit of deviation, a little bit of a ripple, just because it's a little bit more lifelike. So what we're going to do, and well, you can use your knife, you can use a little putty knife, you can end up using one of your handy dandy paintbrushes. Since I don't really use this paintbrush for much, I suppose I'll use this one. So you're just going to take and you're going to smash it down. All right, just smash it down onto the base, just kind of wherever you think. Now we're going to do that. Okay, we got a little bit of a rise like that. This paintbrush really isn't working, it's not stiff enough. So I'm going to switch over to another alternate method, mainly the finger. So we're going to just kind of smudge and smear and do all that kind of stuff. Pull a little bit off the edge, do that. Okay, so we got that. And you can see that it's not exactly all even, which is exactly what we want. So what I'm going to do now is I've got this handy dandy bag of sand. Oops, apologize for that. Got this handy dandy bag of sand. Now you can end up getting bags of sand and whatnot from your local craft store like Michael's or Joann's, something like that. Or, if you live someplace that has rocks and sand, go out and get a bag. Go down to the beach, and it is a very cheap way of doing it. So we're just going to take our base and we're going to stick it into our bag of sand, wiggle it around. I'm going to shake off the excess. And a little bit more. There we go. Okay. So now we have this. So it kind of evened itself out a little bit. You might not be able to see it in the camera, but there are a few little deviations here and there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just kind of take my finger, run it along the side, just like that. Going to brush off the excess. Now when you end up doing it this way, and you end up using the stick of glue, one of the big things that you have to remember is before you end up pressing on with your second layer, you have to end up letting it dry. So we're going to take this, we're going to put this aside. And it probably won't be dry by the time that this video is done. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you another little method, and that's going to be with your handy dandy super glue. I personally prefer gel super glue. It doesn't end up having to be Gorilla Glue. It's just whatever kind of gel that you decide that you like. But it dries much quicker, and we can end up doing quite a bit more. So come on, there we go. All right, so just kind of like before, we're just gonna smear it around. We want some little deviations, some divots, things like that. So about like that. We're gonna put it into our bag of darker sand, I should say. And there we go. So we have that. Now, I kind of want to end up doing something a little bit more winter-like, just because that is what some of the videos are going to end up being about when it comes for diorama style basing. So we're going to just take and we're going to, you know what, on second thought, let's end up taking a nice big rock. So these rocks, I put them in a bin, but I got them from my driveway. And you would be surprised at what you think is a small rock as to what is actually a small rock when you actually compare it to your model. So this rock here is about as big as my thumbnail, approximately. And for a model, this rock is actually going to be rather large. And for this video, that's going to be fine. So what we're going to do is we're going to just put a little dab of glue right here on the edge. And then we're going to take our rock and we're going to stick it right on top, just like so. Now, if you're like me and you like to use a lot of glue, it might take a couple minutes for it to dry. So, we got that. Yeah, I'm just going to set it down. And then, I'm going to take a little bit of extra glue. And I'm going to come around here on the sides, dab it on. Come over here at the base of the rock, dab it on. And come over here, get the other side of the rock. And you know what? I'm going to put a little bit on top of the rock, just for a little bit of like snow covering effect. All right, so then we're going to take it and we're going to grab our other sack of white sand. It's a little bit finer. And then we're going to take our model, or our base, excuse me. We're going to dump it in there, shake off the excess, give it another load, douse, and there we go. All right, so scrape off the excess off the sides, and there we go. Now, because we didn't end up doing any sort of painting, this is just a very quick, easy base to be able to do. You can leave it like this if you like. You know, we got a nice little snow-covered rock. We got like a little walkway that has these smaller grains of the white sand kind of stuck in with the glue of the first layer that we did. Now, the gel glue, or the gel super glue, doesn't always dry super quick, which in cases like this, that's perfect. It's exactly what we want. As you can see, well, maybe... There we go. As you can see, with all these little speckles of white on the walk path, it makes it a little bit more realistic for winter. But you will notice that right here on the edges where we put the snow, because we did not put a base coat down of white, we didn't end up painting our base at all, it might be a little more dark than what you would like. So, in order to fix that, you can take a little bit more glue, just go over the top of it, you know. We'll smash it around, we'll do this, we'll do that, you know, put it on, there we go. Take it, dunk it back into our white sand, and there we go. So you can see now that it appears to be much whiter, and then when you end up looking at the snow over here on the other side, it appears to be a little bit darker. Maybe it's in the shade a little bit, so we'll just leave that alone. We'll call that good. Now, we've got essentially two colors on our base. We've got gray and we've got white. So in order to end up breaking up that color, I'm going to take some of these tufts of grass. Now, these are not in the correct package, but what I use is I end up using the Army Painter brand. Now, this is actually the green stuff package, but if I remember correctly, the tufts that we'll be using are either Tundra or Deadland or something like that. But what we'll do is, because on the back side, they are sticky, but they don't always like to stick super well. But in order to end up helping break up the kind of monotone colors and add a little bit extra, we're going to put a little dab of glue next to the rock here. And you know what? Let's put a little tuft of grass right here. So we're going to take our little tufts after we put our super glue down. We're going to put that down there. We're going to kind of smash it in there just a little bit. Now you can use your fingers. I just like to use my knife because I cover my fingers with super glue more than enough. And we're going to put our little tuft of grass right here. Push it down, make sure it's nice and snug. All right, so now once it's down, kind of brush it with your finger a little bit. And you know what? We need a little bit more. So I'm going to put one more little tuft of grass right next to the rock. Now, you guys can end up doing this however you like. It's whatever floats your goat. Whatever you decide that you actually like. You can add in more grass. You can end up adding less grass. You can go with just the sand. Get rid of that extra little bit of fuzz. And there we go. You know, it's a very quick and easy way to end up doing a base. And it doesn't end up requiring a whole lot of extra materials. Now, the next video that I'll be doing is actually going to take the place of the first video that I did and using green stuff for the bases, which I've got an example right here. So if you'll tune in for next time, I will end up showing you how to end up doing your green stuffed basing. Until then, thank you very much and have a wonderful day.